As of this recording, Resident Evil 4 Remake is coming out on March 24th, and I am so excited to play this game. Resident Evil 4, along with many others, is regarded as one of the best games of all time, in very much need of a remake, and we are finally getting to play that here in a couple of days. But with that being said, you always have to ask what is coming next for the Resident Evil franchise. Capcom has been absolutely killing it with its mainline Resident Evil games between Resident Evil 7 and 8, redefining Resident Evil in the first-person genre and taking heavy PT vibes and kind of turning it into its own thing. It's a really incredible what they've done with 7 and 8. And then obviously the remakes that they've done here in the last few years have been excellent as well. Resident Evil 2 was highly, highly regarded, one of the best games in the entries, in my opinion. Resident Evil 3 came out a year later. Still a very, very good iteration of these remakes. They did cut some content out of that left fans kind of bummed out, and myself included, as I didn't play Resident Evil 3 original back in the day, so I would have liked to see that clock tower portion of the game removed. Plus, Resident Evil 3 was very, very short compared to the other Resident Evil games. So where do they go from here? Do we get another remake? Do we get, you know, obviously Resident Evil 5 and 6 are the next on the mainline series, but I don't know if I necessarily want a remake of 5. 5, you know, is the co-op game that was, you know, the follow-up to Resident Evil 4. It was well regarded, but it wasn't obviously quite as good as RE4. They really knocked down the horror elements and ramped up the gameplay as, you know, as far as action goes. The co-op was a very, very nice touch. It was a fun game to play on co-op. The Shiva AI by itself was pretty terrible. So if they did do an RE5 remake, obviously I would want to see the AI a lot better. You know, a lot more useful in the game that could take care of enemies when, you know, reloading and having to run away and stuff like that. What I'm hoping Capcom does is take it all the way back to the very beginning. Let's show some Code Veronica love. We have not seen a proper remake, really, or a re-release of this game ever. As someone who has not played Code Veronica, I would love to have an opportunity to play that in modern consoles. So that would be a very nice game to go back to. And then obviously Resident Evil 0, the prequel to the original Resident Evil. I would love to see a remake of that. That would be fantastic. I would love to see that before we got an RE5 remake. And then of course the original Resident Evil. You know, we've already had that game remade on, you know, the GameCube back in the day, and I believe it came to the PlayStation, but I cannot quite remember. But that being said, I would love to see an original Resident Evil remake. That woman was quite different than all the other ones, really. I would love to see them go back to the basis on that, and maybe even do a, you know, a third-person game. Like, how crazy would it be to see a third-person style Resident Evil 1 game instead of the kind of the fixed camera angles? That would be such a cool remake, and that would drastically change the original. And again, we have that original Resident Evil remake that was so good, and then we'll have the modern one with modern controls and all that stuff. I think they could do a really good job of remaking the original. So yeah, I think that's where I want Resident Evil to go. I would love them to do, you know, Code Veronica, 0, the original Evil, before we got the Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. I don't even know. Does anybody even want that remake? That game was not great at all. And obviously, Revelations 3 is supposed to be supposedly a Nintendo Switch exclusive. I would love to see Revelations 3 come around. I really did enjoy 1 and 2. I thought they were great experiences. So I would love to see 3 at some point in the future. So yeah, Resident Evil is in a great space. I think it's one of the best, well-maintained and appreciated series out there. Capcom, you could tell they truly love Resident Evil as a franchise, and everything they give us in regards to it is fantastic. Except for the multiplayer stuff. The multiplayer stuff has never quite hit. They continue to try to do it, but they can never get it quite right. But that being said, Resident Evil is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I would love to see more Resident Evil, whatever it is, and I trust Capcom completely at this point with whatever they decide to give us. So hope you guys like this video. Is there anything else I'm missing? Is there another game that you would love to see come back in the Resident Evil franchise that I didn't mention at all? That would be awesome. Leave that in the comments below, and I'll definitely respond to those. I always love having conversations with you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll let YouTube algorithm pick one of my videos below for you guys to watch. Give it a click, and I hope you enjoy, and I will see you in the next video.